What's up, everyone? The newest episode of WandaVision, episode 8, just dropped on Disney Plus, so let's take a look. This video will have spoilers for the first 8 episodes of WandaVision, so obviously don't watch if you haven't seen them yet. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Anyways, let's get into it. So right off the bat, this episode is formatted different than all the other episodes. Instead of the kind of like sitcom format where we're on the show WandaVision and we're kind of watching the show, this episode follows Wanda and Agnes as they look through Wanda's past. I kind of expected that this episode would be different based on the end of the last episode. The first scene, though, is it shows a brief history of Agnes's past. During the Salem witch trials, she's essentially getting tried, and then she goes bananas and kills everyone. And it really just shows off how powerful Agnes is. And this episode essentially serves as an origin story for the show so far, if that makes sense. It's gonna fill in all the gaps and really explain down to the wire everything that's happened so far and why everything's happened so far. So it's essentially Wanda and Agnes are traveling through Wanda's past, and through the different events we see Wanda's fascination with sitcoms, and as a kid she would use them to get through hard times. And there was a cool scene where the dad had he had a box of DVDs and he was trying to sell them, and he had a whole bunch of TV shows in there. I saw Malcolm in the Middle there, so I'm guessing all the shows were the shows that this show has been kind of honoring throughout the series. That was a cool Easter egg, I guess. This episode shows how she fell in love with Vision after Quicksilver died, and then it shows how she reacted when Vision died, which is significant to the plot. The leader of SWORD team was taking apart Vision's dead body for research, and obviously this upset Wanda because she just wanted to bury him, but this guy wanted to sell him and break him up and try to make him into a weapon, or try to figure out what made him so powerful. So Wanda gets really upset. So then she goes to Westview, where her and Vision had plans for a house, and there was this cement square, or it wasn't a square, but it was a cement foundation of a house in Westview, or what would become Westview. I think it's called Westview in normal reality anyways. And then obviously in her anger she creates the show WandaVision and the Westview concept of the town, and then she recreates Vision. So we find out it pretty much was all a creation by Wanda, though the people were real. She was just kind of it is what we thought it is. The people, they are real, they're just being forced into WandaVision. And the last scene of the episode, Agnes takes Wanda's kids, and essentially she's trying to make Wanda a villain and make Wanda realize how powerful she is. And she calls Wanda Scarlet Witch, which was actually a pretty cool moment in the show. Then there's an after scene, which I almost missed. I never checked for the after scenes, but I just didn't turn off the credits. And the after scene has the guy from the SWORD team. I never can remember his name, but the main bad guy from the SWORD team, he's activating this Vision, this new version of Vision. He's a 3D printed version, or at least it looks 3D printed, and it looked like he was going to use Vision to go into Westview. So that was actually a pretty cool moment, and it's definitely setting up some events for the finale, I believe. Alright, so I thought this episode was pretty good. It had satisfying answers for the creation of Westview. With Wanda really creating it out of her grief for Vision. And I like that Wanda's kind of like anti-hero. She doesn't mean to do anything bad, but her powers keep making her look like a villain. That's certainly an intriguing concept. I'm enjoying that the show is exploring that. And I've always found that the most intriguing characters are characters that are complex and that aren't, perfect. And that that's really a trend nowadays with characters. And I always appreciate it when they do that, because I don't like heroes who are just destroying all the villains and there's no depth to them. So I've really enjoyed this exploration of Scarlet Witch, and really all the origin for Wanda in this episode. It filled in a ton of gaps, and it pretty much answered all the questions that I've had so far. Except, of course, is Wanda a villain or not? It kind of seems like she isn't, but who knows? I'm guessing she's not the villain, but we'll have to see in the finale. It certainly could go either way. I just don't imagine they're going to make Wanda a bad person. That doesn't seem like something Marvel would do, but, they've surprised us a lot in the past. This episode is similar to episode 4, where it just really serves to fill us in on what's going on. And overall, this episode was a really nice change of pace for the series. And while I don't necessarily like a TV show episode where it just serves to tell us everything that's happening, for this particular show it does work, and for this particular episode it worked, though it's not always going to work. And overall, with really WandaVision as a whole, I just really appreciate that this show is trying a lot of new things with the MCU. I felt the MCU towards Avengers Endgame was great, but a lot of the movies around Avengers Endgame I thought were kind of bland and kind of forgettable. So I think there was time for them to change things up, and I think they're finally going forward with that. And I hope in the future this can kind of serve as like a building block and a like template for them to try new things and just experiment with different projects. And overall, I think the TV show will give them room to do stuff like that. This episode had a lot of emotion, and it built a lot of tension heading into the final episode. And it seems like there's going to be this big final showdown with all these superheroes coming together and fighting. I'm really looking forward to that, and it really should be an awesome scene. I'm expecting a big fight, so I better not be let down. And it's hard to like predict the final episode. There's probably going to be tons of like twists and turns like there has been throughout this entire show. So who knows what's going to happen, but I am really looking forward to the finale, and it's going to be intense. It's going to be probably emotional. I'm excited to see where they kind of finish the show off. So overall, I did have a good time with this episode. I enjoyed the change of pace. As for kind of the negative complaints for this episode, I don't really have any. I thought it was just fine, and it really did what it was supposed to do. It got the job done. It just wanted to tell us what happened, and that's what it did. I still feel that each episode in this show kind of feels like you're taking 30 minutes out of a movie rather than crafting your own individual episode with a beginning, middle, and end. This episode was a bit of an exception of that, as I felt this episode was a little more crafted, and there was a little more kind of like, it felt more individual. But overall, as for the series so far, that has been my biggest issue with it. This could have been solved if they had released all the episodes at once instead of weekly. In that case, it really gives you room to experiment more and just kind of do what you want to do, because you can just binge it. You don't have to remember every episode. You don't have to like go in depth with every episode and think about every episode for let it sink in for a week. So I think that would have worked better here, but it is what it is. It's not a huge deal, just kind of a minor complaint, I guess. Alright, and that will do it for my review of WandaVision episode 8. To recap, I enjoyed the episode a lot. It was a nice change of pace for the series in my opinion, and I'm very much looking forward to the finale next week. It shouldn't let us down. Disney and Marvel are pretty good about not letting you down with big things or big projects. So my hopes are high, and I'm guessing Marvel will be able to live up to them next week. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. Let me know what you thought about the episode. I'm going to be reviewing the rest of WandaVision, episode 9, and I'm going to be doing a series review of WandaVision, so make sure you stay tuned for those next week, obviously. Anyways, thanks for watching, and have a good day.